Gracias por estar en El Economista. Estamos con Ed Mclaughlin, Chief Technology Officer of Mastercard. Thank you for being here.
So
Ed,
very glad to see you.
Ed, tell us about technology. I mean, I've got just one first question. Are you a company of technology or you're a financial company? What are you?
So I always say we're a Mastercard.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is we're not a financial services company. We don't hold the accounts. We don't lend money to consumers. We're not a bank in any way. But what we do is connect merchants and institutions and banks all around the world together. So we provide the underlying technology. Technology enables, it animates everything that we do. So we enable all the merchants and all the institutions that you may have an account with to connect together. So Mastercard has about 3.5 billion accounts that run on our network, connected to 120 million merchants around the world, anywhere you'd want to shop. We're in over 210 countries, so you can get on a plane, land anywhere in the world, and know your Mastercard is going to work perfectly. That's what we make happen.
A long time ago, I used to have my card, my bank card.
Yes.
And you used to go to the market, and they had the book, and you went to pay, and you say, if you were a good payer, that's things like that. Now you go to the market and you push your card there, and in seconds, in less than a second, what does it happen when I pay my supermarket? So after that, what happened there?
That is what Mastercard's technology does. That's a great question. So first, we want to make sure that you can use that card, whether physically or digitally, anywhere in the world. So whether you're sticking it into a machine at your market, whether you're tapping a mobile phone to get onto a transit system, whether you're online doing a payment, what happens is that number on your card, the 16-digit number on your card, and all of the information around your transaction, and a number of security features we have, that hits the Mastercard network. We go to wherever your account is. We give it a fraud score, how likely
you go with the bank.
To the bank.
Right, okay.
So we tell the bank, it's you, where the merchant is. We have all sorts of artificial intelligence and other things we do to protect the transaction. The bank decides, yes, you're good for it. We then send what's called an authorization back to the merchant in milliseconds. The terminal goes bing, the merchant knows they're going to get paid, and you get the goods you want.
How long does it take this?
We'll do it in less than 200 milliseconds. A blink of an eye.
Milliseconds.
So blink of an
all
eye.
the information flies, goes, runs, I don't know how to say it. Goes there. You check the I am who I say I am.
Yep.
You put it there to tell the bank, this is Eduardo, no? And
That's right.
it comes back in that way.
And to think about the scale of how we do it, we'll do over 150 billion transactions this year.
Wow.
When we look at each transaction, we have an artificial intelligence, an AI engine that checks for fraud, that checks for all sorts of things to protect you as a consumer. Mm-hmm. It's bigger than the large language models that are out there. It is an absolute engineering marvel. But the key for the network is you as a consumer have zero liability. We stand behind that authorization of your transaction. The merchant gets a payment guarantee. They know they're going to get paid. So that's why around the world, there's no card or no payment brand that's more accepted than Mastercard.
Right.
And you get all of that just by tapping that card into the network.
Just push it there. You went public in 2006, I think.
That's correct, yes.
What has changed from that point
everything.
to here? I mean, tell us about that.
So it really is an amazing story. So Mastercard started for that very purpose as a bank-owned cooperative, connecting all the banks together. And it grew and it grew and it grew. But to continue to finance that growth, continue to operate around the world, in 2006 we had our IPO. At the time, there was about 3,500 people in Mastercard.
Okay.
I remember our pre-IPO valuation was
You were in that time?
Yes,
yes.
It was about $4 billion.
Okay, $4 billion.
In the not quite 20 years since then, we're now over 35,000 people, and our market valuation is around 450, 60, I don't even know what $1 billion.
I checked it in the morning, and it's nearly $2 billion.
So the power of technology
and you've been growing this year 20%, your stock share.
20% year over year. Yeah, so the power of the technology, if you think about it, is while we've grown employees about 10x, the value we've created has grown 100 times. And it's because of various eras and waves. So when we IPO'd, it really was pretty much that plastic card.
Okay.
Subsequent events like the rise of e-commerce, people being able to buy online. If you think of all of the innovations like in Amazon, in e-commerce, Mercado Pago, Uber, Netflix, all of those innovations were really based on Mastercard technology as allowing you to take advantage of it. And they could just tap into the Mastercard network and build their services knowing that the payments would be easy and secure for them. So since the IPO, the shift to first online e-commerce, then the shift to digital as we started enabling digital devices. It was 10 years ago. We designed the technology that became the foundation for Apple Pay and Google Pay. That's genuine Mastercard technology that helped transform device-based commerce. And now what we're seeing with artificial intelligence, with the services we can add to the transaction. So we've continued to grow Mastercard by being more and more valuable to consumers, by having more and more commerce shift from cash in the physical world into online and digital world. And we just continue to see that growing into the future.
We're going to talk about artificial intelligence in a moment, but I think at that time you had a few clients. And when I say a few clients, you had banks, right? Now you have banks, you have Google, you have Amazon, you have fintechs. I mean, how does it change it? How the world has changed, and your clients, what do they demand? That,
since our IPO, has been one of the biggest emphases our business have of what kind of new value can we create for everyone in the ecosystem. So it started as really the brand that banks could use for their payment cards. We developed all kinds of capabilities to help merchants sell more, to help them analyze their business, to be more profitable. So a lot of work with merchants, with small businesses, sustainable economic development communities around the world to help commerce flourish. With the rise of fintechs, all of them able to tap into our network. We had a program we called Start Path, where we provide expertise and funding to fintechs around the world. Tremendous success stories in Latin America like Nubank. That was a partner of Mastercard from their start. They've been exclusive with Mastercard from the beginning because we helped them develop their services. Breakthrough services like Square, where we knew every device would be a commerce device to receive payments.
Why
we helped design their
for
service.
For example, let's put that Nubank. Why do they grow up like that? Because of technology, because they don't have all these things, all things. They were more easy. They were with the last technology. I mean, why do they grow up so fast with the technology with you?
So I think there were two things. They had a remarkable value proposition.
Okay.
They were such a leader in using mobile as a primary device to reach consumers. So they've done a great job, as of partners we have across Latin America. But I think they were able to hit a market with a really compelling product market fit that allowed them to scale. Where a Mastercard comes in is we provide all the capabilities they needed for payments. So if you think about our network as a platform that people can build business on, that they can launch all kinds of new innovations, their ability to tap into the Mastercard network so their card could be used at that 120 million merchants around the world meant they could focus on building their consumer value proposition and leverage Mastercard to take care of all the payment side of the equation.
Let me talk about artificial intelligence.
Yes.
I was talking the other day with a transport company, and they take the people from their homes and they can take it to the factory.
Right.
And I was saying, where's the artificial intelligence? And they were saying, you get into the bus and you pass your card, right? And this is Eduardo. Okay, he's on the bus, right? But Ed didn't come. Ed didn't put his card because he was sick and things like that.
Right.
They send information to the factory and they say, Ed, who's the expert in painting, is not coming. So we have to have solutions to that.
Right.
Tell me, what do you do? Something like that? what that you do with artificial intelligence in Mastercard?
So we've used artificial intelligence for a long time in many ways. I always like to say another fine publication, Forbes, gave us their Innovation of the Year in 2019 for how we were using artificial intelligence. So there's three big things I think about. One of which is, how can we use all of the data we have to make the network smarter? So we've been able to use it to block a tremendous amount of fraud. So in the last few years, over $35 billion in fraud that could have happened in the network, we stopped through how we use artificial intelligence. Because I can predict the things you're most likely to do, the things you're most unlikely to do. I can look at all kinds of signals intelligence in real time and stop fraud before it happens. We have things like circuit breakers in the network that before a human agent could even get a page, we can block runaway transactions. So the ability to have that kind of intelligence built into our network using artificial intelligence has been transformative for us. The other thing it's done is it allows us to know better that it really is you and you want to do that transaction.
Right.
So years ago, simpler rules-based systems might have blocked things you wanted to do. Now we can enable that you can do what you want to do because we can be that much more certain it's you. But it doesn't stop there. We now use artificial intelligence to work with merchants to say, how can you sell more? How can you look at across your portfolio of businesses and say, where would it be good for me to open a new store? So being able to use artificial intelligence to predict things which are happening and look at all the signals to make better decisions has been massively helpful for the businesses we work with. And then two other quick areas. We talk a lot about eliminating toil, work that just has to happen. We can automate that now with artificial intelligence. It allows things to happen faster. It allows things to be more repeatable, and it frees people up to do more value-added and creative work rather than the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And that's my final area. And really with a lot of the things you're seeing with assistants and co-pilots and ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, after a few decades, has now become intelligence enough that it's almost a co-worker for people. So this human-computer interaction of working with incredibly intelligent systems to prototype things, to help code faster, to model things that you might want to do, I think it's going to unlock all kinds of new creativity and productivity for people. So incredibly enthusiastic about how it already has helped our business and how it will transform it going forward.
As a user of a Mastercard, can I feel safe when I use my credit card?
So the one...
My credit card or debit card, anyone?
Any Mastercard product you have, you've always had a 100% security guarantee from Mastercard. Zero liability for you using that product. There are almost no other payment systems in the world that stand behind you as a Mastercard user the way Mastercard does. We can do it because of the intelligence we have in the network, because of the security we have in there. But if you get ripped off, you have recourse. We have chargebacks and liability systems. So the brand promise from the beginning is Mastercard always stands behind you as a consumer. And much of what we do with the technology is to make sure that we're keeping that promise to you every day. So one, we stand behind you. Two, we invest incredibly billions of dollars to fight things like fraud. And three, and maybe most importantly, make sure that network, it works for you every time, everywhere you want to do it. When you get off a plane in a city you've never been into, it'll get you into the cab. It'll get you into your hotel room. When you walk into a transit system, like Transit of London or New York, or even doing it here in Mexico City, right? Knowing you can tap your MasterCard and that gate is going to open,
That's right.
Our promise is that will work every time. So everything we do is working from that experience backwards, standing behind it for you, building the security into the system, making sure it works flawlessly every time, being what we call Mastercard good.
And where are we going to? That's a question that I have to ask you. Where are we going to with the technology?
What happens next?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is my favorite thing.
Great.
Because if you look at how transformative technology has been to date,
yes,
I actually think we're just getting started in an entirely new era. So as we move more and more into digital connectivity in a digital realm, I think the experiences we're going to get will be much more immersive. I think things will be much faster, will be instant for what we're doing. We just had one I like, which is one of those signposts to the future, where we're now working with Mercedes to enable payments as part of the car's operating system. So you can pull up to an EV charging station, just plug it in, and the transaction works. We can go after, imagine your self-driving car. You get to your destination and you could say, go park yourself. Well, how does it pay for it? That's where Mastercard comes in. So a big thing you'll see technology enabling in the future is our network is entirely programmatical, it's real time, and we can embed ourselves in all kinds of new, what we call contextual commerce experiences. So as digital environments become ever more immersive, we'll be there. As you automate more of your life, as you shift to subscription services, as you have different devices and ways that you want to have access to your underlying account, we can provide that access for you with all of the guarantees, safety, and security we talked about. So you lose none of the capabilities you have today, but there'll be all kinds of amazing new experiences we can now enable.
What about ESG? I mean, you know, technology and things like that, but what about ESG? Are you worried about that? Are you taking care of it? Can you tell us something about that?
This is something else that I'm really, really proud of Mastercard's leadership in that area. So you kind of have to unpack the three letters. I think they kind of get mushed together. But on the environmental side, we've been doing solar on-premise for years now. So I generate a significant portion of office and others through solar. We've just launched a new tech hub that happens to be in Pune, India. It is true green certified. It's one of the greenest buildings in the world to live that. We've taken a pledge to get to carbon neutrality, and we're doing work where I can now trace a transaction down to the exact underlying systems, what they are and where they run, so I can get a carbon signature for what we're doing to reduce our own consumption for that, to help hit those goals. So we're doing a tremendous amount to make sure that we can run as green and as clean as possible. We're also helping consumers, what's sometimes called conscious consumerism. So we have a carbon calculator that can give you a feel for the footprint of the things that you're buying. We have what we call our Priceless Planet Coalition. We're enabling consumers and our partners to help fund reforestation to, again, offset the carbon that we see being used there. So we've been a tremendously invested and a leader in how we can be more environmental with what we're doing. So on the social and governance, we've invested a lot in financial inclusion. We had an objective we set to bring 500 million people who were not served into the formal financial system. We met that objective. We've now upped it to 1 billion. We're working with small businesses around the world in sustainable commerce. We have things like we call Community Pass, which is helping farmers in rural communities in India and developing Africa get market prices so they can manage their crop yields better. So there's all kinds of things that we can do to help in sustainable economic development, which not only is great for the people we're serving, it's long-term sustainable economic development is best for everyone. And then on governance, and I want to end on that, we run critical national infrastructure. We work with regulators around the world to make sure we're operating at the higher standards for ethics, for availability, for serving the economies we're in. It's one of the most important parts of the brand promise, and I'm very proud of what Mastercard is doing in those areas.
That's great. We just have one world,
One more.
Ed, finally, what do you do in an office day, a regular day? You wake up, what do you do in your day? Tell us about that.
So what is a regular day?
Yeah,
so we always have
plans.
Excited
as you start eating and you say fraud, companies, consumers. What's in a day for you?
So I balance it two ways. And when you run technology for a company like Mastercard, it's almost a little bit of split brain.
Okay.
So the most important thing is the integrity and the quality of the services we run every day. So I do deep reviews on the technology we're running, the service levels we have, the quality of what we have out there. As I said earlier, our brand is a promise. You make sure you're keeping your promises. So we do that. We look at any incident which occurs, how we can do those systems. That's important.
No.
The amazing stuff is the other non-mathematical half of what I do is our future is what we create. It's what
Okay.
we build.
Yeah.
So, how we take research and apply it back into our systems. We're doing a lot of work on quantum capabilities, what that might mean for the network. We're inventing things. This will be a decade from when we invented that tokenization technology to enable Apple and Google Pay. What's the next set of inventions that we can bring? So taking all of the skills, all the data, all the capability that Mastercard has and saying, how do we invent what's next?
That's right.
That's a big part of the job too, and it's kind of amazing.
That's great. Ed Mclaughlin, thank you for being here in El Economista. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
That's
Thank
great,
you.
thanks.
Pleasure talking.